After a year and a half, it is finally time to show you guys my new car. Alright, before I give it all away, there is a bit of a backstory to this. Like I said, it has been a year and a half. I bought this thing way back in 2022. I actually mentioned it in a video. Let's rewind to that. Alright, a lot has happened since that last clip. I bought a new car. You won't see that for a little while, but now let's go down the timeline of what has happened in the past year and a half. While I haven't done much to this thing, I have to at least give you the full story, get you caught up to where we're at today. So before I put this thing into storage for a little bit, I wanted to do a quick walk around since it's only been a few days since I got this thing, and this is how I got it. Ridiculous Lambo doors, part of an S15 front end. Don't mind the wheels, I'm borrowing those. It's got molded on overs. Be back here. The fuel filler neck was moved from the original location. It was shaved off to up here. Very strange. It's on some old coilovers, which is why it's not super high. And it has no interior. Nothing at all. So it's going to be a great base for a project. It's going to need a ton of work, so expect a lot of videos on it. And this is where I'm going to be storing it for a little while, in this shed here. Got to clean that out, push the car in, and leave it in here for a bit. And it is a single cam 5-speed. Pretty much untouched. Just been sitting for a very long time. Back with the junk 240 here. I'm actually stealing the S15 front end off this because I sold it to a buddy of mine. Because the S15 front end is cool, but not really my jams. There has been something living in it. You can see there's some turds there, and some much bigger ones up there. Like, what is that? Why is that there? Anyways, gonna get these fenders off and get out of here. No idea where this is at in a video, but we're back with the S13. I got some pop-up headlights from a junkyard and a hood. We're gonna throw that on now. Look at that, we got some headlight buckets, one with a bulb and no cover, one with no bulb and a cover. Next, we're gonna throw the hood on. If it's not evident by now, I did sell the S15 front end. That was not my style, more of a pop-up guy. So I'm gonna get this hood on, and it's gonna kinda almost look like a car, maybe. All right, once again, I have no idea where this is in the video because the content for the 240 is just super sporadic. One of these days, it's not gonna be, but anyways, today we are driving out to some random dude's house because he has a 300cx that he's parting out. And surprisingly enough, he doesn't know everything about it, and he's not taxing at all with the JDM tax. So I hit him up and I was like, hey, I want to buy the brakes and the wheel hubs. And he said, what's a wheel hub? So I said, I'll be there in an hour. So I probably won't film much. It's just going to be in some dude's backyard, and I don't know how cool he's going to be with that. So this guy's moving some stuff around with this forklift. This is what we're here for today. All right, we're back home. Let me show you guys what we ended up with. Actually, let me unload the car and then I will show you because it's kind of all jammed in there. All right, got everything out of the car. Check this out. So obviously we have the big front calipers. These are the aluminum ones. And then for the rear, we have the entire assembly. I didn't plan on taking the axles, but I couldn't get them out of the hub. They're like basically seized in there because none of the stuff had been taken apart. So we got some 5-bolt axles, lower control arms, the entire upright, the e-brake assembly, the brake caliper, and then the e-brake cable. So everything and then some to convert the rear of my S13 to 5-lug with Z32 e-brake and actual brake. The day has finally come where I go pick up the car I've been hiding from you guys for a really long time. I'm so excited to finally dive into this project. It's literally been a year and a half, but we can't go pick it up without wheels because it's been sitting on wood blocks in my friend's shed, well, since the time I got it, really. And that's just because I don't have a car with 4-lug wheels. Well, I didn't. I do now. And it's another car that I can't show you. It's actually behind the Tahoe. This is a project for further down the road. I hate to kind of
end one saga and start another one of a hidden build that I can't really talk about, but I promise this one won't take a year and a half to start. For now, it's a secret, so if you're interested to see what that is, make sure you're subscribed, because I promise you it will come sooner than this one did.
Only teaser I'm gonna give you guys. Just sweeping out my rat's nest here. All right, we've got the hood bolted on. Trying to get the wheels on. These really aren't the right hub bore, but we're getting there. All right, we got wheels on this thing. About to get it on the ground. This coilover is actually broken, so we'll have to figure that one out. But it's time to get this thing loaded up. Tearing down the barn.
Tearing it down now that that thing's out.
Tomorrow.
It's finally time to dive into work on the 240, but before we do that, we have to clean it up because it is absolutely disgusting. One important thing to note, if you're dealing with any kind of animal mess in a car or anything like this, you got to be safe. You can breathe in some nasty stuff and get really sick from this kind of stuff, so we're going to wear a respirator. I'm going to get some gloves on. We're going to jump in there and vacuum all that stuff out. That barn find 240 that you're looking for, don't buy it. Just spend a little bit more on something that hasn't sat for years. I'm having fun. This is going to be a really fun project, but it is disgusting. And all I did was just the front seat area. I haven't even got into the trunk, and it's gross. I do have some cool parts back there, so let me at least yank those out so we can get this thing one step closer to being kind of maybe clean. All right, after a lot of vacuuming, most of the mess is out. There's still a lot that's like stuck to the floor, really gross, but I can't get it out with a vacuum, so I'm either gonna have to scrape it out or I'm actually just gonna try to pressure wash it. A good chunk of the wiring is already kind of messed up in this thing thanks to the rats or rodents or whatever they were, so I don't think a little bit of water is gonna hurt anything. I think before I pressure wash it, I'm gonna spray it down with maybe some bleach or Simple Green or something to try to disinfect it. I don't know. Either way, I'm at least looking forward to the satisfaction of washing the outside of this thing because it has got a good layer of dust on it. That's right, I bought a 240, an S13, S chassis, 180sx, whatever you want to call it. They're all the same, kinda. And I am really excited to have this thing. And I want to give you guys a little backstory on this car. This thing has a little bit of a cool history. It belonged to a shop years ago, I'm talking well over 10 years ago, and it was being built to be a backup car or demo car for an existing race car in like the early 2000s that was in, not quite sure of the series, but think of like early D1 USA or maybe really early Formula Drift. And there was one other series I can't think of, XDC, maybe Extreme Drift, something. One of those ones in like 2003, 2004. I'll put a picture up of the car that actually competed in those series. Now, if you look closely, you saw that had an S15 front end, big rear overs, and a silly wing, just like my S13 has, or had. It was being built to be a clone of that car. Now, I don't know if it was going to be a backup car or a demo car or another car or what, but I'm pretty sure that's why the interior was stripped. The engine bay actually has markings on it of stuff that was supposed to get cut out, which would make sense for a drift build. And it's just kind of cool that it's got a little bit of history, and while it's not that cool S13.5 that's in that picture, it was gonna be that one day. And I guess the shop just lost interest, or maybe couldn't build it, or maybe their program wasn't working out, and the car just sat around. It sat around for years and years and years. Eventually someone bought it and it sat around in their backyard for years and years and years. I mean, like, this thing has been sitting for well over 10 years, if not closer to 15. And then I bought it and I let it sit around for almost 2 years. So when I say this thing was abandoned, I really mean it. It was sitting in someone's backyard, whether it was a random stranger's or my friend's backyard, for years. And I couldn't be more excited to dive into this thing and resurrect it into a super cool, let's call it a dream build. I'm gonna use big words like that because I have owned a handful of S chassis. This is actually my 5th one, and they've all had this like dream vision in my head of what I wanted them to be, and it never happened. Now, the majority of the S chassis I owned were back when I was a teenager, college student, working 2 part-time jobs, and of course I never had enough money to really build a high-level, really cool car, but I always had dreams of it. And yeah, I could have bought one instead of the Z when I got this thing a few years ago, but seat time was more important. I've been getting that. This car does amazing, and I thought now is the time to finally dive into building something that's been in my head for 15 plus years. Now, I'm not gonna give away all the secrets. Obviously, we have a ton of work to do on that thing. It is gonna go through the whole process, get stripped down to absolutely nothing, and built back up into something really cool, and I'm gonna share the whole process with you guys. I hope you are as excited as I am for that. Make sure you're subscribed because, like I said, it's gonna be a very in-depth, probably kind of long process, but I'm really excited to get into it. Drop some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of this thing. Do you think it's too big of a project? Is it too far gone? Or did I catch it at just the right time to save this thing? And let me know what some of your thoughts are, what you'd like to see with this thing. Obviously, I have the vision in my head of what I want, but I'd be curious to see what you guys think. Maybe some of you have that same dream in your head and just haven't had the chance to buy one yet. Either way, if you guys are stoked on this project, give it a thumbs up. I know I am. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And of course, catch you guys in the next one.